Pokemon movies do matter. This is clickbait. Unsubscribe. Okay. I didn't even start the video yet. I was going to talk about Bayonetta 3 today, but there was news about 2 Pokemon movies this week. 2! And an update on the last one. If that's not a sign from Arceus to talk about Pokemon this week, I don't know what is. First, we got a summer 2019 release date for Detective Pikachu, which meh. Then we got an announcement of a brand new Pokemon movie, one that's a follow-up to Pokemon I Choose You. That's something that, to my knowledge, they've never done before, and even that movie got an announcement that it's headed to Blu-ray and DVD release in February 2018. All of that is to say, only one of those is going to really make waves for the masses, and that's the Hollywood release, the Ryan Reynolds-led Detective Pikachu. And that movie is fine and all, but I want a real Pokemon big-budget movie to get a shot at the box office. So, at the risk of triggering that part of the Pokemon fan base, you know who they are, I thought it'd be fun to talk about what I think can make a Pokemon Hollywood movie for everyone to enjoy, but about the world we as gamers and anime fans know and love. We've seen our fair share of Pokemon movies in the 20 years since it's been a thing, a few of which did really well for movies based on video games and anime, but not as much as you'd think for a global phenomenon like Pokemon. Pokemon movies should be an event. I think a major hurdle in that currently is the association with the anime. A lot of people think that means it's not for them anymore, which is fair. A lot of adults don't like watching cartoons or whatever. That style did work 3 times for good to moderate success for 2 reasons. The first being that when Pokemon the original movie and Pokemon the movie 2000 came out, Pokemon was at what we thought was the peak of its popularity. Both of those movies grossed more than $100 million, not adjusted for inflation. Pokemon the movie I Choose You came out around its actual peak in direct proximity of Pokemon Go. Not to mention the fact that it was a celebration of the 20th anniversary, so it's bound to have some extra fanfare, and as a result, the people with Pokemon nostalgia all rushed in to check it out. The problem with that movie was it wasn't widely released like the first 2 movies I mentioned. Most Pokemon movies aren't released in theaters outside of Japan, and that also lowers their potential, but there has to be a reason for that. If Pokemon Company felt like those movies would make the theater run worthwhile, they do it. And that's because not everyone is actively excited for Pokemon. But with my dream movie, I think Pokemon could use even the most latent Pokemon nostalgia to their advantage, but in a less direct way. And there's tons of movies that prove it. To do this, first and foremost, don't make it an anime. That would inexorably cap the movie's potential. That's not to say an anime Pokemon movie couldn't be and even hasn't been successful. The highest grossing anime movie of all time, Your Name, grossed well over $300 million. But that's the exception, not the rule. And Pokemon isn't that kind of bag. Pokemon wouldn't benefit from the shock and awe that Your Name did. Pokemon is a known quantity, and another 20 animated Pokemon movies would just continue the trend of diminishing returns. Even Western 2D animated movies are hit or miss. I think making a live action movie based on the world of Pokemon would be the best way to maximize the movie's success, and it would encourage a major studio to invest the big budget a Pokemon movie should warrant. Obviously, movies about anime are hard to get right. Thing is, Pokemon didn't begin as an anime, and it isn't most known as one either. We don't need Ash. In fact, we'd be better off without him. This will allow the studio to cast whatever actor or actress they want in the leading role. Maybe cast Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things as a new trainer from Unova to avoid any potential whitewashing complaints. It'll be true to the world because he's young, Unova is based on America, a major movie studio would feel comfortable pinning a multi-million-dollar movie on him, and a few other big names for the antagonists and other supporting characters. The setting should probably be Kanto since that's the most well-known region, and given that every region is based on real-world locales, with Kanto in particular being based in Japan. This will be a movie that starts in America, being Unova obviously, and it will transition to Japan, which again will be Pokemon's Kanto region. I feel like these 2 settings are fitting and could make this movie that much more marketable in both America and Asian territories. Think what Michael Bay does with the Transformers movie settings for China, but not forced and for money and money alone. With the setting and actors out of the way, the next biggest hurdle left I think would be the look of Pokemon. They should obviously be CGI, but those effects could be tricky to get right. Just in making the thumbnail and gathering footage for this video, I ran into all sorts of Pokemon nightmare fuel and Uncanny Valley postcard candidates. Most of the pre-existing fan concepts make Pokemon look really unappealing in my opinion. Pokemon are not meant to look like unsettling monsters. They're hardcore and gritty, but what if Pokemon just look more like the animals they're based on? Look accomplishes exactly that in my opinion. I don't think that look translates Pikachu's cool meets cute aesthetic at all. This is wrong on so many levels, and well, this one's okay, but we gotta lose some of the detail. We don't need all of that. The other common scenario is to make them look super cartoony, which I think is also the wrong way to go. Pokemon has shown that there is a pretty nice happy medium for Pokemon in the real world in some of their commercials for Pokemon Go. I think that is a good aesthetic to aim for, with a bit more detail and animated fur effects and things like that. And the visual issue won't just be with the look of the Pokemon either. Again, while I was making the thumbnail for this video, I looked high and low for a good male Pokemon trainer to avoid the duh clickbait comments, but the truth is virtually every male cosplayer I found had the run-of-the-mill, hey look at my Halloween costume pics going on, and that's just not the vibe I think this movie would need. I mean, come on, if Rihanna can pull off Gym Leader in real life, so can this movie's leading characters. Whether that be Finn Wolfhard, like I suggested, well-known up-and-coming actresses like Zendaya, again at the risk of inevitably triggering someone, or an unknown actor or actress, the main thing would be to nail costume design, and obviously they need to be able to act, but that's a given. The story can go in so many different directions and could have so much franchise potential on the level of a Marvel movie. Even better, it could have the cultural weight of a Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or even Star Wars movie. The world is vast enough to tell a story that appeals to everyone. I don't think the story should be the typical gotta catch 'em all and beat the Elite Four affair, or an allegory for Ash's story. It should play to something that helps people relate to the world, be something with the ability to surprise even hardcore fans while still being undeniably Pokemon, use the world's rules to establish stakes, and leave room for expansion in future sequels. The easiest way to go would be to have our protagonist adjusting to his new home in Kanto and figuring out what it means to be a trainer at the same time. Maybe, assuming this would be a major franchise with multiple sequels, the first movie in particular has our protagonist transitioning to a Kanto-based training school. A fish out of water story makes it much easier to teach people about a world in a relatable way. Many of us have experienced big moves that caused us to uproot our lives, and we all had our first day at school or work. This, with the added whimsy and epic scope of the Pokemon world, I feel would be excellent building blocks for making Pokemon into a major movie franchise. Maybe the school bully secretly has ties to Team Rocket. That's admittedly low-hanging fruit. I'm not a screenwriter, obviously, but I do notice trends, and I see what grounding Spider-Man did for Homecoming, or even what doing the same, granted darker, did for Batman with the Nolan films. I think grounding Pokemon's world and giving it a modest scope with the potential to ramp up will maximize what it can do as a movie. I know a ton of people don't like him, but Max Landis was working on a Pokemon script, and from what I heard from that so far through my research for this video, I think he had the right idea. His movie wasn't the run-of-the-mill try to directly translate what we've seen to a new medium with a hint of edge. It was a story about people. That is what we need. A great movie first and foremost. Pokemon is just there to provide a world to facilitate that story and contribute unique rules and stakes to a story that, let's be honest, we've probably seen elsewhere. And that would be okay, because it's been okay in film for decades. Rehash stories are a dime a dozen. Well-known stories with interesting twists are more than good enough, and that's what Pokemon can be and should be. Now I know that these sorts of things don't always pan out, and I'm positive people in the comments will say it will never happen, but first of all, that's not what these videos are about. They're not supposed to be me telling you this is a thing that will without a doubt happen and everyone will love it. They're meant to be from me, someone I'd hope you can consider a friend, talking to you about a fun what-if scenario with some backing here and there based on what we know about the franchise, like Pokemon being the most profitable entertainment brand in the world, a fact that I will never stop repeating in these videos. And the fact that a movie like this almost did happen, so who's to really say it can again? But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Could a big blockbuster Hollywood Pokemon movie perform like a Disney brand movie could? Maybe better? What would you like to see in a movie like that? Are you seeing Last Jedi tonight? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, maybe check out our pinned comment for a linked playlist of a bunch of our videos that you may like if you like this one. Which, if you did, click like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of new ones every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.